Hello, Paul McFadden here. So this week I did a Ask Me Anything on Instagram and I was inundated with so many good questions, some of which I was able to answer, others I couldn't get to. So I thought this week on the podcast I'm going to go into a bit more detail on the questions that I did answer and catch some of the ones that I wasn't able to. So this is fun, it's great, and if you're following me on Instagram, the next time I do this, because I do this often, then be sure to hit me up with your best questions and all things on business, property and life. I love this, it fuels my content so I can make sure I'm giving you guys stuff that you want to know and make sure I'm answering your most burning questions. So make sure you follow me on Instagram. So the question today that we're going to go into a little bit more, and my answer most likely surprised a lot of people. The question came from Jack, and that is, how much do you earn annually from your properties? And my answer to that was zero, zilch, nada, nothing. Now yes, that probably surprised many people who saw that answer, it might even surprise you. So when I got started in property at the age of 19, I didn't start building a portfolio, I started deal trading. And once I got good at deal trading, which is sourcing a deal, selling it onto an investor and making money for doing that, I started coming across some great deals that I didn't want to sell, I wanted to keep. Now, my situation was I never had money, never had the contacts, never had the knowledge, never had the experience, I had bad credit, I started getting declined mortgages, so I couldn't own property myself. So my mindset was I'd rather have 50% of something than 100% of nothing. So I found other people, joint venture partners, who would get a property in their name. We'd have a legal contract that protects my interest where I'd have 50% of the asset as well as 50% of the income. So my portfolio started to grow, and by the age of 24, 5 years into my property journey, I became a full-time property investor and quit my job and went full-time off the back of my share of the rental income that was coming in off those 10 properties. So once we paid off all the expenses, my net profit was just over £2,000 a month coming to me, which was enough for me to cover my overheads and be a full-time investor. And from the age of 24 until now, I've continued to build my portfolio, I've continued to go into other investment strategies, buy and flips, get into bigger developments and so forth. Now, by the age of 24, I started to draw that income. So if that question was asked back then I'd be saying, yes, my portfolio gives me £2,000 a month net positive cash flow. And this is what I'm living on. And it's continued to grow. And my answer's changed now because by the age of 27, 28, having made other strategic investments and bigger developments and different deals and money coming in, plus earning an income in various other ventures that I'm involved in different businesses, my income has always started to grow through my portfolio, but I then stopped drawing an income. So my portfolio for the last 8 years, I've not took a single penny out. And all it does is it continues to build up. And every time it builds up to a certain point, we go and invest in buying more properties. Primarily my strategy right now is buying and flipping. When the market starts to change in the next maybe year or two, we'll probably then pivot and then go back to buying and letting properties. So buy and hold strategy to buy to let. But right now, every time the money pot builds up, we can just go and buy another property or invest in some of our strategic land acquisitions for planning gain and so forth. So that's what I've been doing for the last 8 years, and it's a nice position to be in. And what I did say, because one of his responses was when Jack said, does that mean that your properties don't make you any money or you don't rent your properties out? No, my whole portfolio is rented out and it still generates an income. And anytime a tenant decides to want to leave or move into another property or whatever that may be, we're renovating our portfolio just now, the empty properties, and putting it on the market and selling, because we're getting a premium, we're getting over home report value because of the way the market is with supply and demand. So from my point of view, anything that comes available because a tenant leaves, we're renovating, selling, and we'll start to build the portfolio again. And even when we start to build the portfolio and continue to build the portfolio, even flips that I do just now, because we're doing a lot of single unit flips as well as the bigger stuff, but we do a lot of single unit flips. Any profit that comes in from those flips and from my rental properties, it just sits in the account, builds up and gets reinvested. And when your investment money is making you more money, that's you winning the game of wealth creation, not having to rely on drawing that income. But the reality was, in the early days of my property journey, I needed that income until the other businesses I was focusing on and building up started to pay more to allow me to keep my portfolio really healthy, lean, and have a lot of cash flow there, be cash liquid to be able to go into more investments as and when they pop up. It's a good position to be in. You know, if you think about it, if you've got a portfolio and you just keep on spending all the income every single month, then what happens if a boiler goes or some repairs need to be done or a tenant trashes the place? These things happen, you know, so you've got to have a cash reserve account first and foremost to cover those things. But the key here is to make your investment money make money, and that there is the game of building wealth and truly creating, you know, money at a whole different level, higher returns, because your money, the money you're making off the money you invest is making even more money, if you can work that one out. So that was the answer to my question, and this week I'm going to answer a lot more of these questions. And on that point, if you're looking to get started in property or to accelerate an existing property business and maybe build things like the way that I've done it and got involved in bigger projects and developments along the line, if you want to be a full-time property investor in a much shorter period of time that it took me after 5 years, we've helped people do it inside of 12 months. Then head over to propertyprotege.com and check out what we do there. And as always, make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, or if you're listening on the podcast player, make sure you're subscribed there. And I'll be back tomorrow to answer another question. So all the best, and bye for now.